Oh, oh, okay. Well, I'm not gonna worry about it because it's not showing up on the main screen. So, therefore, how are y'all doing today? Got a little bit of technical issues going on, but it's okay though. We'll make it through. What's going on, old man? Another week down, another week up. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, you seem to think that you puffing out your chest a little bit just because, you think you might have did something last week with the way everybody's reacting to it. So, but everybody, every dog has his day, as they say. Yeah, you know what I mean? So,
No,
but we got a decent. Well, it's been about a week since this happened, but it's still going on. Um, First off, congratulations to the LSU women's basketball team. Um, it
absolutely.
was a really good game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched bits and pieces of it that I could. However, this has been an age-old thing that's been going on since I've been on this earth. That's the whole, trash talking, taunting, uh, amongst players. And the issue here is that it's very hypocritical depending on who's talking about it or what's being done. Because going back, just to preface this, my take on it is that if you're gonna trash talk, you just got to back it up, which is what Caitlin Clark did. So she was backing up her trash talking, but the moment they lost, and then her opponents were trash talking her, everybody seemed to have an issue with it. So I'll go ahead and let you start us off, and we'll just see how this goes from here. Because I got a couple of things to say about this, because
Okay.
it's in the realm of sports. So
Um, I've seen sports a lot longer than you have, and I played. And you think things are changing or getting better, but you realize it hasn't gone that far. It's really sad that this even happened. And the fallout from Angel Reese doing the taunting has been going on and still goes on in the NFL, boxing, every arena of sports there is. Uh, and it's sad because it shouldn't be that way. And and it hurts me to even think about it. The fact that because the color of your skin determines what the taunting is like. So you you see it in the NFL. Certain players, the Brady's, Tom Brady's, certain they do certain things is looked upon totally different than if a black player does it. And then it's, oh, he disrupting the team. It's this, or when Tom Brady does it, it's, oh, he's passionate
right,
about the game. This falls right in line with that. It's and it's sad it's to that point. And I don't know when it's going to change, when people going to be looked upon the same way.
right. Well, I mean, it even goes into basketball because you can't even dunk. Like normally people go for dunk, to see people get dunked on and stuff because it's
Hmm.
entertaining, it's fun. You can't even do that
Hmm.
now without, like, if you dunk on somebody and look at them, you end up getting a technical, which costs your team some points. And so you can't do the things that were very prominent in like the 90s and early 2000s. Uh, can't really do those things now that you could do back then. And even the fact that the the first lady wanted to invite the Iowa team to the White House because she said they played well. I was like, first they didn't play well. They got blown out the gym. Like they lost by I think it was like 40 points or something like that. They got blown out the gym.
Right.
And never in the history of like sports has the loser ever been invited to the White House. So it goes into that what we were talking about many moons ago in one of the other podcasts about participation trophies. It's like you don't invite the losers because they played hard. The winners get invited because they won. I mean, there can only be one winner in what 90% of 90% of the everything in life. There can only be one winner. Just like Highlander, there can only be one. I mean,
Yeah, cut your head off.
there's it's just
But
it's getting a little out of hand, and the fact that she said that, I don't know what was the motive behind that
it's the same
specifically.
motive about the taunting.
But no,
It's
but what I'm
it's the
saying
same
is,
motive.
I don't know why she would say that. And I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into that as far as the whole forgetting who put you there in the first place, like your voters and stuff like that. But that's that's another realm. Um, but it's just really wild to me that it's taken into two different perspectives. Like if it's a they don't want to see a lot of people don't want to see the boastful African American or minority being, you know, like trash talking and being effective at the like and winning at the same time. Like they rather have them be, humble and oh yeah, I'm just glad to be here, this, that, and the third. But they can't. I don't think they can handle it. But they're 100% behind you know, white male, white female trash talking. Oh, they're passionate. It's just really,
Oh,
really
they got swag.
right.
They got swag.
Swag,
Yeah.
passionate. This, and so it's just I don't know if there's necessarily a way to go about it. I mean, I don't think there will be ever a way to go about it. Because it's always going to be a white versus black thing when it comes to sports. No matter how you look at it, it's going to you're always going to be your opponent's going to be of another race. I mean, there's just no way around it. It just depends on who does what, I guess. Because yeah,
It has to be an understanding that these are players. These are people in combat. Just a combative sport.
right,
And some people, their their edge is what helps them in their game.
right,
That goes across the board, whatever ethnicity you are. And some people use that, and some people don't use that. That doesn't mean that the person who uses it is wrong.
right,
It's getting into the other person's head. Hey, you could have a strong game, but your mind is not strong.
right,
I could play with that
right,
and beat you. So it's used in that way. It's in some capacity, and then what you do um, physically. What your game. Whatever it is. Boxing, football, baseball, basketball. It doesn't matter. Um, you know, the young lady for Iowa. It was Iowa, right?
yeah,
Clark.
yeah,
Uh, she did it. She talked trash, but it was looked at differently.
right,
Oh, she got swag. She this. She this. She's passionate. Those terms. One time it's brought back to her. Now they call in Reeves, right?
right,
For LSU, classless. You know, all these negative, and I've seen it. I've been around so long. I've seen it. I've seen that good players are made to be villains based on trash talking and things like that, based on the color of their skin. And it's sad because it don't have to be that way. Just take it for what it is. Hate them. And look at Floyd. Floyd Mayweather. That's how he makes his money.
right.
People pay to see him lose because of trash he talks and how cocky he is. But he always wins. But
Exactly.
that
If people have an
that
issue, that's
it's a
what.
business.
Right,
And to single out someone to hate based on who is coming from is totally wrong.
right.
We got to get past that.
A-
We,
and
we
that's
have to.
I'm sorry.
as human beings, not any ethnic group. As human beings, we got to get past that. Look at people for who they are.
Right, but that's well, the way I look at it, that helps you with your mental makeup. Like if you experience those things when you're younger, teenager, whatever, it's going to
Mhm.
teach you how to overcome like certain hardships or make your mind sharp when you're doing certain things so that you can block out that pressure. Like if you're 9 times out of 10, if you're playing like wide receiver, you're going to be going against DB, not, and he's going to be talking trash to you to get inside your head to make you make a mistake.
That's right.
Most
Right.
DBs don't know how to be quiet. I've never faced a DB that didn't
I was
try.
a defensive back. I
Exactly.
didn't.
I've never faced my point exactly, audience. So now you understand. I've never I've never gone against a defensive back that didn't talk trash, and that's part of their game plan because they want you to make a mistake. And so you don't really have to respond. I mean, you can let your game do the talking. And there's
That's right.
plenty of instances. One, for example, that I can go back to where D'Angelo Hall was trash talking DeAndre Hopkins, and then he ended up getting hurt because DeAndre Hopkins did him dirty, on
Yeah.
a comeback route. So it's just like if you're going to talk,
You
as they
got to
say,
back it up.
right? Talk stuff, get hit.
That's
You know how the saying goes. Um,
right.
so it's just one of those things. It's like if they're fine with trash talking, they got to understand the consequences that come with it. And she didn't have an issue with it, and that's why I was just
Right.
like, why are they making this such a big deal at the fact
It's
that
always been that way.
right, no, I understand that. But it's just like
Right.
why
Right.
is it being such a big deal? She even said it's like, hey, they won, good game. The game was great. That was probably one of the better women's basketball tournaments I've seen in a while, like that I can think
Right.
of.
Right. Right.
And so it kind of just put a whole damper over the whole thing as far as the bigger picture, which is the women's sports. Um,
It took away from the LSU's national championship.
yeah, well, not like I said, not just that, but just saying the whole
Right.
tournament in general because it was a really good tournament.
Right.
Like a lot of
Tournament.
a lot
That's
of
right.
a lot of good play. Like it was honestly on par, if not better, than the men's tournament. And so you don't really see that often. And
Yeah.
so when you have
Okay.
something good like that, it's just like, oh, are they here? The women's sports, so women's basketball finally here, and then you have that happen. It's just like it kind of just undermines the whole thing.
Yeah. And it's sad because today, where everybody, if you feel something is good, it's okay.
Mhm.
I'm shocked to see it at this level still across sports, where you're like in a combative sport. You do the objective is to win
Right.
with by any means, but without hurting someone or
Right.
anything else.
Right.
But it's to win. If it takes getting in their heads, that's what you do.
Hmm.
If it takes just physical endurance, that's what you do. I mean, that's the game. If you can't handle that, then sports might not be the way you need to go.
Well, I mean, everybody's gonna be able to handle it now because they're giving out those participation trophies. So it looks like that's going to be the thing going forward. No matter how you play, if you come in second place, it looks like you're going to the White House, and it's like that's not it. that
Right,
doesn't that
right.
doesn't really teach anything, and it can have a detrimental effect on the team that lost because you're just like it's like a backhand to them. It's like, oh, so I understand, yeah, we lost, so you just come back stronger next year or whatever. But now you're inviting us to the White House, then it's just like, what are we doing all this work for? I mean, like the people that are
Yeah,
there multiple years.
that yeah, but I can't talk on that. I just that doesn't make sense. Never heard of it. That the second place team gets the trip to the White House and the winning team doesn't.
Well, I
You
mean,
could do both. You could do both.
she invited
Both
both.
teams.
She invited both, but it's
Okay.
just like,
But
why would you invite both? There's a winner and a loser. So the winner goes to the White House. That's what happens across all sports: MLB,
that's right.
NFL,
That's right. Right.
WNBA, NBA,
Right.
soccer.
Right.
Like,
I guess another thing too. We talked about this in previous podcasts about women's sports and things like that.
mhm.
And if if you want to boost it, you're going to have to do things to get it in the limelight and get people out there.
Mm,
Like for me, you can't expect to make NBA money in the WNBA because it's not as profitable
mm.
as the NBA. So I guess this is a way to start getting that um, more in the limelight to maybe help
I
the
mean,
WNBA. I'm trying to look at the. I'm
no,
trying to find something
I hear you,
to
but
to justify that.
I feel like that's going to be one of those things. I don't know how the women will feel. Women, if you're watching this, let us know down below.
Mhm.
But just thinking how, my opinion, if you're inviting both teams, a winner and a loser, for women's sports, it's just going to make them look soft. Like it's they're not going to be on the same field as like the men's sport where there's a winner. It's like, oh, we we won, but the loser team still gets to go regardless. So it kind of, I don't know, it just makes it seem like that it just pushes the sport further down instead of lifting them up to make them on par with like the other men's sports or other women's sports. I mean, because I don't really know. They don't do that, and yeah, every other sport is just one team goes.
Hey, I would, LSU can send a message as well.
I mean,
Don't go.
they
Don't
that's
go.
did you not see what they what she said? She was like, "We'll go see the Obama."
No.
She's like, "No, we're good. We'll go see the Obamas instead of going to the White House." They said instead of going to
Oh,
the
okay.
White House.
LSU.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that'll send a message saying, "Look, we did this. We deserve this alone. We're not sharing our national championship and everything that comes along with it with the runner up."
Yeah, that I'm sorry to clarify. That was Angel Reese was the one that said it on
Hmm.
Twitter. Like she was like
Hmm.
inviting both teams to the White House, like crying emoji, and she's like, "No thanks,
Hmm.
we'll go visit the Obamas instead, instead of going to the White House." It's just like, I mean, I don't do what you do, do what you do. I just thought it was really weird that you're inviting both teams to go when that's never been done in the history
Right,
of sports.
right. The, this that national championship game, it the pendulum went extreme. You know, you had a majority Caucasian team, you had a majority black team
Right.
per se playing each other with each side um, in their ethnicity represented it well. The typical well, hair, lashes on one side, you know, maybe tattoos, dreads, things like that. On the other side, Caucasian, white, you know, um, and to some, it's like no sun. I don't know what the temperatures were, but they were like pale,
Mm,
real, you know, hey, right, hey, it is what it is. So I think, and I would hate that that would be a factor in why the invitation was granted to both.
right.
But you see the outrage on taunting, you can't dismiss it. And that's the sad part. It shouldn't even be an issue if a simple taunt done by one group was swag and done by another group is classless, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Right. And that also falls. Well, I was thinking about it. She did it to when she first did it. She did it to LSU, and then she did it again to South Carolina. And LSU and
Line.
South Carolina are in the same conference, so that was kind of like, oh,
Hmm.
we got your back. Even though we don't
Hmm.
like you, it's one of those don't
Hmm.
you don't come after extended family or something. I forget the saying, but they're in that same group, that bracket,
Right.
SEC. So when they saw that, they're like, okay, well now we got to take it. We got to take it to you essentially.
Mhm.
And then when they won, they did it back to her. Now I guarantee you, if they lost, she would have still been doing the same thing or whatever, and everybody would have been okay with it. But like, I don't know. Like she did it. They didn't show up for the game. They got beat soundly. like from
You know,
beginning to
she
end.
played a good game.
Yeah,
She played a decent,
yeah,
her
but
game,
it
but
was
it
a
wasn't enough.
right.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah, it was like a 40 point victory or something like that. It was yeah.
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, it's just one of those things. If you're going to, and she already understood the assignment. If you're going to talk trash, you got to be there for the consequences if you lose. It's just the fact that everybody else took it so far to the left
that's right.
that there it's just like, why are you worried about what the competitors are doing in the arena? Like, just enjoy it for what it is. These people are going to do that throughout history and continue to do that because that's
Have done it. That's right.
yeah, they're going to continue doing it because that's part of the gamesmanship. Like that people are going to talk trash to each other. That's what you do, even in pickup games. If you go to a pickup
Oh,
game,
well,
people,
absolutely.
people are going to talk trash to you. They're going to say something about you, height, weight, speed, whatever, to get inside your head, and it's all about how you react to it. But if you sit there and and um show out against the person that's talking trash, they get humble. Some people, they just do it because some people talk trash just because that's part of their game and they don't really care whatever you do. They just doing it to do it. But the ones that get humbled, they don't have anything to say. Like if you score a 70-yard touchdown on a play after the DB's talking trash, he's quiet the rest of the game. Now some of them, don't get me
Not
wrong.
necessarily.
Not, but I
Not
said
necessarily.
some of them go right back up to bat and keep doing it because they're
That's
trying to
right.
get in your
That's
head.
right.
But some of them, once they get scored on, they're just quiet the rest of the game because they're just like, oh, I just got I got I got toasted for let me not open my mouth anymore. So
Yeah,
it goes both ways.
yeah. With the taunting, when you do it, this is what can possibly happen. You could taunt that person, get in their head, mess up their game,
Mm,
get them upset, make them do something stupid,
right,
or you could piss them off and then they go off.
right.
They go 100.
And they just sit there and stare at you.
that's,
They don't say anything. The worst ones are the ones that just
that's
look
right.
at you. They don't say anything. You just sit there like, well,
It's a chance you take. I mean, when you do it, that's a chance you take. But um, that's how it is.
right,
You pick your poison. If you want to go for it, go for it. But like I said, you better be able to handle the smoke.
right. Because
Can you handle the smoke?
the minute you open your mouth, you got to be ready for what comes back at you.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But to go into something else in that whole realm, the whole. Well, let me ask you this: do you think the participation? I'm sure I already know the answer to this, but do you think
Well, you know,
the whole participation era is getting out of hand now? With especially with what you just saw with the dual extension, the dual invitation.
it's it's been out of hand for a while. Whenever it started, whenever that time came,
Mm,
because part of life is you're not going to win. Everybody doesn't win. You're going to lose. And the sooner you learn that, the better off. It hurts. It hurts to lose,
mm,
especially when you realize what it is.
right.
Um, but you're not going to always win. It doesn't. Life is not like that, and you better be prepared for it. Starting early, and that's something trivial. A lot of times you learn it, and there's really no consequences behind it.
Well, I mean, a national championship is not that true. It's not that.
No, no, I'm talking about before that, before
Oh,
the
okay,
national
okay. Well,
championship. I'm talking
so you talk
about
about Pee
where
Wee,
they,
because when you get to
yeah,
high,
Pee
because when you
Wee.
get to high
That's where it
school,
starts.
oh no,
That's where it
what I'm
starts.
saying, when you get to high school, that's when it starts having implications. There's state championships.
That's right.
You
That's
got
right.
bragging rights for that spring. But
That's
yeah,
right. So that's the thing. Where that's where it needs to be developed.
mhm,
That's where you got to learn how to lose there, so that as you grow older, you realize that's part of the sport.
right.
When you start off, everybody wins. You thinking that's the way it is, and then by the time you get to high school,
Mhm,
you sit there crying because you didn't get the trophy.
Right.
So,
I mean, I honestly think the best way to go about it is not do a team sport, but do a solo sport first. Like put them in like wrestling or something where it's basically on them, and that teaches that. I think that would accelerate it instead of putting them in a team sport where everybody gets participation. But that
I think team is better
mm,
because the thing is, you could be great. Your team, other people might not be,
mm.
and you still can lose.
No, I understand it, but I'm
So
saying like
what if you good by yourself
right.
all the way through, and then you get up there and lose?
I'm saying more like
So can you handle it?
wrestling. If you're doing the pee wee stuff like under eight, I don't know if
Hmm.
they do like younger kids wrestling. If they don't do like the solo
I don't
sports
think
at a
so.
younger age, then I would just do the team sports. But
Mhm.
I mean, I would advise to do both once they get to high school, so that way they can do
Absolutely.
individual and team, so that way they can understand it, get it. It accelerates the process instead of them having to rely on the team. They can also rely on themselves, and then they know their limits as far as what they can do, and then see what their team can do as a unit essentially. But if they don't have it at a young age, then yeah, just do if you want them to just do a team activity,
Right.
team sport like soccer or something like.
Now, track singles you out too.
Oh, 100%.
But
The 110, the 110. Oh, you get to see who's really fast. The
yeah, 'cause
110.
you got a hamstring, you pull your hamstring because everybody's smoking you. But
Mm-mm.
that's another thing. But
Yeah,
um,
you really get embarrassed on track because everybody's looking at you.
and that's right. That's right. So is it? It could be a good thing or a bad thing. Depends.
I mean,
So
and that's when you have to find out something that you're good at in track. If you're not a sprinter, don't do the 110. Like, that's not gonna be a good look for you
yeah,
when you see the people
that's
start
right.
when you all start off at the same, and then like half a second you getting trailed. You just see the lead getting bigger and bigger. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the back.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the last person. But you might get a trophy and the participation trophy. Everybody gets one. So
Yeah, you get the participation trophy and you get everybody laughing at you, be made fun of.
taunting.
No,
You think somebody would taunt them?
oh,
No,
they'll
that's
taunt they taunt in the they'll taunt in the 4x1. 4x1 is
yeah.
when all the
Really?
trash talking really happens.
Uh,
4x1, and then depending on what bracket you're in the 110s. Like if you're in the like top bracket, yeah, you get a good trash talk. I've seen it happen. Like my friend in high school, he was in the 110s and he was like, "I'm about to smoke you." Like the dude was talking trash to him. He's like, "I'm about to smoke you,"
mhm,
and he lost. I mean, the guy that I knew won, and he was
mhm.
like, "So what were you saying?" Like I thought you were going to show up, this, that, and the third.
See?
Like so, those things happen. It happens in track too. Like I said, those are the ego races. The 4x1s and the 110s. You don't really see it too much in the long distance or things like that when people are by themselves. But ones where you're next to somebody, yeah, they're gonna
Mhm.
say something to you to get inside your head.
So you see taunting as something that they need to get rid of?
No, you can't get rid of it. You're not gonna be able to monitor what everybody says.
Well, they're penalizing people. Remember, you
They,
said the dunk and they throw a
yeah,
tech.
they're penalizing it. How are you gonna penalize it in track? How you gonna?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Saying like in football. Cam
You're
did it.
not you're not
You
gonna. I
know,
mean, those are individual celebrations. That's something totally different. But you're not gonna. You do you not hear the stuff that go? Well, you already know the trash talking that goes on between offensive and defensive linemen, quarterbacks and
oh yeah,
linebackers.
you just can't hear
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Just like if the people heard the stuff that gets said
Oh
in between the
man, oh,
trenches, they would lose their minds. You can't stop that.
yeah.
There's no way for you
That's
to
why they
stop
don't
it.
mic them up down there.
Exactly.
Like sometimes they mic the quarterback, but they don't
Exactly.
mic the line.
Exactly. Exactly. They would lose their mind if they knew what went on in between the trenches. Like,
That's right.
mm-mm.
And they know they're mic'd up, so they kind of
Exactly.
water
They water
water
it
things
down.
down. Yeah, that's right.
No,
That's
but
right.
there's been a
So
couple times when you could hear them when you hear them on the
yeah.
broadcast and the announcers try to sell it, just like, oh, he's just upset. And like, no, he's not upset.
Oh, right. So um, it's sad that this is something that we even have to talk about in 2023. It really is because um, two people did the same thing, looked at totally different. It's just sad.
That's just how it's gonna be. That's how it's unfortunately something dramatic change. Uh,
Yes.
going forward, media darling will always be looked at as somebody with the swag, this, that, and the third. But you got somebody
Mhm.
boastful that is confident in their abilities. Oh, arrogant, that and the third.
Depending on who's saying that.
That too.
Yeah. Um, and the thing is, if people look at it as a sport, it's just part of the game.
Right.
You got to take it. If you give it, you definitely got to know how to take it.
Right.
So, and what bothers me the most is a lot of people got a comment and got a voice and is being heard that never played sports, and they want to blast their opinion, talk about what's sportsmanlike and what is not sportsmanlike. And just like you said, Clark didn't say anything negative about that taunting. It was other people probably who never played the sport, but they took their kids out there to play sports, but they never played it. They
Hmm.
never were significant enough in the sport or any sport, but they got an opinion.
That's usually the ones we already know. That's
Hmm.
usually the ones that
That's right.
the squeaky wheel gets the oil. We already know those are the ones that usually are
That's right.
upset about it. They never played because I really didn't see anybody that played sports that had an issue with it. They're like,
That's right.
it's part of the game. Like you gotta, yeah, if you can
You
dish it,
give
you
it,
gotta
you
be able to
take it.
take it.
You got to take it.
Right.
That's
So
just that's sports.
exactly. So I didn't see anything wrong with it, but you know I figured it was something we should talk about real quick,
Absolutely.
because it was relevant for this week.
It,
Uh,
it is.
and
It's.
it's just unfortunate, like I said.
I hope this be the last time we have to talk
No,
about
it
it,
won't.
but I doubt
It
that.
won't be.
I doubt
It won't
that.
be. It's just
So.
unfortunate. Like I said,
Mhm,
it brought the women's basketball sport down a peg compared to it being, oh
mhm.
yeah, you know, outside of everybody saying it was really good, you know, the tournament was really
It took
good.
away from it.
It took away from the
So
tournament.
totally.
So it's just like
That's right.
now you're not thinking about the how good the tournament actually about that it's one instance. So it's unfortunate, but people are people with media, people with access to Twitter and things are screaming the loudest and getting heard. So it is what it
Mhm,
is.
mhm.
Really unfortunate
Yeah.
though.
But they wasn't screaming when it happened
Hey,
to South Carolina.
right. Or Louisville.
Louisville. Right, that's right. No screaming whatsoever. But
Yeah,
yeah, says it all.
exactly. Well, I mean that was pretty much my topic for the week. I figured you would have had
Good
something to
topic.
say. You know, you being a DB, so now that people understand why you're always trash talking and why half the
I
time
can back it up
well,
too, though. I
half
can,
the time I just ignore you because you know, a wide receiver over here, the DB over there. So now you see the dynamic.
that's right. That's
Um,
right.
but we hope you all enjoyed
Yes.
this week. Appreciate you all checking out the video last week. Um, next week will be his week. I'm sure I'll probably fall asleep at some point during the podcast. So there's that. Um, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Outside of that, unless you have something
And
else you got
happy
to mention.
Easter
Oh
to
yes,
everyone.
happy
Yeah,
Easter for those of you that celebrate, and
that's
happy
right.
Sunday for the others.
Those
Whatever,
who don't, that's
what
right.
yeah, whatever your background or whatever you like to take part of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we all hope you have a great week. We'll be back next week with whatever he wants to talk about. And until then, you all be safe and have a great
All
rest of
right.
your day.
Stay tuned, everybody. It's going to be good.
Oh, anyway, we'll see you all next week,
All
and
right.
y'all take care.
Next week.